Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. Jeremy St. Louis alongside the two-time Super Bowl champion Bryant McFadden. Week 1 of the NFL preseason underway in earnest this weekend. BMAC just gave us his most underrated players going into 2022. Let's now discuss players that need to show him something this season, his prove-it players. BMAC, number 3, I thought would be number 1, actually, but who's number 3 on your list?
Number 3 is right where he needs to be. It's Tua Tagovailoa. He has to prove it. He has to put up big-time things for Miami, not just number-wise, but they got to win ball games. You look at everything they've added to Tua, and that's primarily why I have him on my list as the most to prove. They went out and got Terron Armstead, right? They went out and got Connor. They got Tyreek Hill, of course. They got Cedric Wilson. They got Chase Edmonds. They got Raheem Mostert. Man, they went and got so many experienced, impactful players on the offensive end. There's no excuses anymore. Yes, we've been seeing the deep passes. He's throwing to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but we got to see that in meaningful games. So right now, when you look at all the money they spent, all the additions they made, it is time for Tua to prove it. To prove it to everyone, he is the franchise quarterback. He is the guy that can take this franchise to heights they haven't been able to reach in a long, long time. And he is the guy that can handle all the pressure. The pressure is now on Tua. He's done some okay things so far in his professional career, but he has to take the next step. We've seen some young quarterbacks take the next steps, a la Josh Allen. You know, you look at Lamar Jackson, winning the MVP, get into the playoffs. It is time for Tua to take the next step in the right direction. And because of all of that, primarily speaking, the additions the Dolphins have made, he is 3rd on my list as the most to prove.
Yeah, I don't think there's a quarterback in the NFL that is under more pressure going into the season than Tua Tagovailoa based on the pieces they've added around him, as you said. Yep. Hey, New York Giants fans have to be happy. Number 2 on your list here is a player who's finally healthy, BMAC.
Just be quiet. Just let's whisper that. Don't say it out loud. We don't want to have anything happen. But yes, he is healthy. It's Saquon Barkley. Heck, I could have went Daniel Jones, but I just want to give Daniel Jones a night off, a day off, so I go Saquon Barkley. But anytime you get drafted number 2 overall, you go into that situation with a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations. But when you draft a running back number 2 overall, man, all of those things are heightened because you don't usually see guys at that position get drafted that high. He jumped into the league, kicked everyone in the mouth in 2018. Looked to be like a game changer. And then the injuries happened. Played 13 games last year, the year before that, only played 2 games. Hasn't been productive because he's been on the sideline. You cannot make the club in the tub. For him, being number 2, you still make the club, but you don't give them anything. You don't give any production. So he has to prove it this year. Listen, they didn't touch his 5th-year option. That was already a telling sign like, yo, you're on borrowed time, young man. You're on borrowed time. So for him, he better put up and shut out the noise that he has been hearing, deserving so, because he's been on the shelf for such a long time when it comes to injuries. So hopefully, let's whisper it. Hopefully, he can stay healthy.
Can't make the club, sitting in the tub. Love that, BMAC. Love it. Yeah, 4 attempts, 13 yards, by the way, in that preseason win over the Pats on Thursday. As you mentioned, though, hasn't had a full season since 2018. BMAC, number 1 here, I'm at a loss here because this guy was one of 2 quarterbacks to throw for over 5,000 yards last year. He was 3rd in touchdowns. He's number 1 on your prove-it list?
Yes. Justin Herbert is number 1 on my prove-it list. And hear me out. Listen to my argument in regards to having Justin Herbert number 1. You just gave me the numbers, right? In 2020, 31 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards, 4,336 to be exact. Unbelievable numbers. A year ago, 38 touchdowns. He improved over 5,000 yards. But they're not winning any ball games. Justin Herbert right now, his winning percentage, when you look at his overall record, he is 15-17. 2 games below 500. The guy who I have on my list as number 3, if you missed it, is Tua Tagovailoa. Jeremy, Tua Tagovailoa has a better winning percentage than Justin Herbert. How is that possible? Jalen Hurts has a better winning percentage than Justin Herbert. When you talk about talent, when you talk about throwing power, when you talk about having everything a quarterback would want to have, Justin Herbert would be in that conversation. When you look at some of the more talented thrower of the footballs in the National Football League, Justin Herbert will either be in the top 4 or the top 5, depending on who you're asking. That would be a given. But for me to have all of those attributes, those skill sets, And to be below 500 when it comes to wins and losses, that's unacceptable. And because of that, everyone is buying in to the Chargers, primarily speaking because of Justin Herbert. But he walked into a situation where the cupboard wasn't bare. Look at his pass catchers. Look at the overall structure on the offensive end. We understand they have things in place. His situation was a lot better than some of the other younger quarterbacks that we've seen so far. But yet and still, he has not won ball games. Think about it. When you're that talented and you play the most important position, you got to find a way to win. How is Tua Tagovailoa has a better winning percentage than Justin Herbert? Did you know that, Jeremy?
I did not know that, B-Mac. I did not know that.
Exactly. Who has shown more so far in their professional career? You just said Justin Herbert. I mean, whoever you want to talk to, top 3, top 4, top 5 quarterback in the National Football League, most people will have Justin Herbert in that conversation, in that ranking. But his wins and his losses does not back those outstanding numbers that you just gave us and I just gave the people as well. So me personally, it's a prove-it year. He has to get in the playoffs. Derek Carr made the playoffs last year. Derek Carr, right? Justin Herbert has to make the playoffs. They got to prove it. He has to prove that it's not just about the individual numbers. He can find a way to orchestrate and get his team into postseason play. That is it. No exceptions. That's why he's number 1 on my list.
Well, and this division did not get any easier for him this coming
season.
No
excuses. No excuses. Hey, most talented quarterback in that division. You probably would say Pat Mahomes. Okay, that's cool. But who would be number 2? Everyone probably would say Justin Herbert.
What about their schedule, B-Mac? I mean, when you look at that schedule, how does it stack up? Do you think that he's in a position to be able to prove it on that schedule?
Listen, it's a tough schedule, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. There's no excuses for a guy to be as talented as Justin Herbert. In 2 years, 69 passing touchdowns. In 2 years. In 2 years, almost 10,000 yards combined. I don't care who he's playing against. Justin Herbert has shown all of us he is a baller at the quarterback position. But it's time for him to take that next step and win ball games. He is too talented to be below 500 in 2 years as a starter in the National Football League, in my opinion. That's why I believe this is a prove-it year, and that's why he's number 1. Like I said, Tua Tagovailoa has a better winning percentage than Justin Herbert. How is that possible? I don't know.
B-Mac, you made a great case, man. You made a great case. I wasn't convinced why he should be number 1, but you've convinced me. I agree with you. He is a prove-it guy going into 2022. Our 2-time Super Bowl champion, Bryant McFadden, giving us the prove-it players for the 2022 season. And Justin Herbert tops the list. You heard B-Mac's case, made a great case. Perhaps he'll bring that onto All Things Covered, the latest episode with Pat P. A little update from Vikings training camp. After week 2, you can download and follow wherever you get your preferred podcasts. You can also watch on YouTube.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.